Hey, it's good to see you today, my friend. All right, so what we're going to go over here is just going to be an idea. We're going to talk about the first couple lessons and put them all into perspective, going over a couple key vocabulary words, and then moving through to a concept which is way before what we should be working on it. But the fact is that we're working on it means that the in-between time from understanding how these puzzle pieces fit together will be shortened, just for the fact that we're able to communicate about what these things are. So, having said that, we know what a minor second is because that's what our spider exercises are. We're trying to do these and keep our fingers closest to the fretboard. This thusly gives us muscle memory and helps us to control the speed and the volume of these notes when we're playing them. If I wanted to switch this from just single quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and just play whole notes, I could do that as well. I could also play half notes, 1, 2, 1, 2, or just quarters as I was doing. I can do eighth notes. I can do 16th notes, and then so on and so forth. So that gives you an idea on how to use that rhythm with the down, up, down, up, down, up. One of the secondary things we did was just to hear, after muting our chords, feeling that out and keeping that in a constant rhythm. This gives us an idea auditorily how far the distance is at different speeds. The distance remains the same, but it feels like an eternity when you're going slow and when you're going fast. They're two different feelings. So the way we registered that is a down and an up. We let this get a little loosey-goosey, and then we let it flow up and down as if we're doing something called rake picking. The idea is eventually we're going to use these notes as arpeggios and be able to go up and down the fretboard by going, which is lots of fun because it pushes and smooshes those notes together with ties and slurs. Not only are we going to be talking about these things, but we're going to be explaining what they are as notation on the treble clef and the bass clef. So what we've talked about is in the diatonic structure of 7 notes, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, which we will refer to as intervals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, we know that the 1, 4, and 5 are major. The 2, 3, and 6, they are minor, meaning pick any 7 letter that's in the alphabet of music, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and we can either sharpen every one of those natural notes to an A sharp or an A flat. Those are the only 3 types of notes: natural, sharp, flat. Between those, it gives us our A major, because without that third being a major third, if we flattened it to a minor third, 1, 2, 3, we would definitely have that B, what is that, a C, A, B, C, as being our minor third. And when we use our spider exercises, just like down below here, what we've discovered is, yeah, we can hit certain notes which are relative just by our finger lengths. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is our minor third. Our major third would be an extension. Now that you know that, in correlation with our 3 different types of scales, it would be natural to say at this point, we should know how to play a C with our third finger, play an open D, play an E with our second finger, play a F with our third finger, play a G with open string, A with our second finger, open B, and then C with our first finger. At this point, knowing that we've got a do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do is our C major Ionian. We're going to be playing this and doing it in all 3 of our phrasings. So here's the first one. Second one starts with the second finger, so C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Same notes, C to D, whole step, D to E, whole step, E to F, half step, F to G, whole step, G to A, whole step, A to B, whole step, and B to C, whole step. As we were talking about, it does not matter if you sharpen this or if you know the name of those notes. If you play the same pattern, it will give you what you want, a major scale. When we talk about all other modes, like minor, Aeolian, it's based off of knowing that the 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they're all the same in the major. So when we flatten the 3, flatten the 6, flatten the 7, we get that minor feel that we're looking for. From those modes, we can change the notes that are in there, and it thusly becomes a different mode, which is why a lot of the times we'll say, like, the harmonic major scale. What we were just talking about today can also be called a couple different names. My favorite of which is the AKA Ionian flat 6, because what we're doing is we're quite literally using the notes that are inside of there to play up through there, and the only note that we see in there that isn't the same would be the flat 6 of every scale. So because we have the diatonic major scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, if we flatten that 6, it is no longer a mode that is derived out of just those first 7 that we talked about: Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. So what we do is we use the formula to go through for the root being the 1, the secondary being the 2, the third being the third, the fourth being the fourth, so on and forth, so on and so forth. So what we do is we talk about the intervals from that point. It would be a whole step, half step, whole step, half step, half step, and a whole step, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing the flat 6, which essentially is a flat 13. Do the math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 is our 1. 9 is our sus. 10, we don't call it 10, it's major and minor. 11, that's our other sus. When we go to a 12, we don't call it 12 because the 5's naturally in the chord. And then the 13th is the 6th, just up a whole thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to have in that flat 13, which in the key of C, C, D, E, F, G, A flat, it would have a different feeling, faux show. So C, D, E, F, G, A flat, B, C. Hear that significant difference? Woo! So what we're going to do is we're going to use that over a couple different things in 3 different keys. Try for A major, which has A major. You can use all of these in your teeter-totters. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. These are the whole tones, right? 3 and 4. Even the pinky, yeah. And we learned a new little trick today, so maybe throw that in our teeter-totter. We learned how to go from this, we did it at D. We can do it at A. A, walk it up, A, walk it up from B, C, D flat, D, A. You don't have to put the D in there. You can do 1, 2, 3. I like the D though. It's a full spider. Do a whole bunch of stuff. So, knowing that, we're going to go back to this C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now a C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C. That's our Aeolian mode. That's our minor. So knowing that that's our minor, we can also do all of our different modes that way. We can try doing our Dorian mode, our Phrygian mode, our Lydian mode, our Mixolydian mode from that too. The easier ones are the one-note variations, but once we realize Mixolydian in C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C, when we see that as being our Mixolydian, we quite literally can play that same Mixolydian functionality without starting on the C, and then we can change it to a different mode of that different scale. If I started on the second C, D, and played the same with a D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, we derive a completely different mode, which is what we're going to talk about next week. But this week, staying on center, play all of your C major, your functional chords, which use the C major scale right here, your secondary finger playing the major scale, and then your third finger, the pointer, playing your functionary scale. Sorry. Remember to keep them in order: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and keep them super straight. When we go through there, try doing your minors this week as we tried last week. And then let's try and do some sort of interesting thing. Let's play around with the different feelings between a melodic minor, a natural minor, and a harmonic minor. If we were to do it in C major with our second fingering, we would have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. If I were to throw just C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, we would have a mode. Can you name what that mode is? When we see this as being a C to a D as a whole step, D to a E flat as a half step, E flat to an F as a whole step, F to a G as a whole step, G to A flat as a half step, A flat to B flat as a whole step, and B flat to C as a whole step, that spelling should spell out your modal structure for it. Not that I like pop quizzing you, but it's good to challenge too. Try and figure out what the mode is. So here's the end result. In the 3 different keys we chose for today, we have A major, B minor, C sharp minor, D major, E major, F sharp minor, G sharp diminished, which is nothing more than an E7, and then it resolves itself back to A. Once again, A major, B minor, C sharp minor, D major, E major, F sharp minor, G sharp diminished, and then we're going to be going back to A. After that, we've got D major, E minor, F sharp minor, G major, A major, B minor, C sharp diminished, back to D. Now notice we can play an A7 and go right back to D here. It functions and works for you there. And I'll do that up the neck. D, E, F sharp, sorry. D, E minor, F sharp minor, G major, A major, B minor. When we come up here, we're going to play that same minor, but we're going to drop this back down. And it's going to resolve itself back to D, right? And then our last one that we had on the board was G major. G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished, or at D7, and then back to G. Up the fretboard, G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor. And remember, if we're doing our D major, we want a D major 7, so we're going to throw it up here, and I could throw in, as I said, my F sharp way down here. This is a shit chord. Not a big fan of these. Generally just play them like that. And it resolves back to G. So, with that in mind, try and write a... Oh, geez. It fell. Try and write a progression that is symbolic of that. Put down all the notes that are inside of a key, and if you can't figure out what it is, you can go through each note and see. If I said A and you're like, okay, this is an A, B, C, well, that's definitely not a C, so you have to sharpen it. So you would know that A has a sharp in it, at least C sharp. When you get through it, you'll know that A has 3 sharps, D has 2 sharps, and G has 1 sharp. It's a good way to do a practice here with these 3 different key signatures to realize in the key of G, its relative minor is E minor, and all the notes in E minor are all the notes inside G major. Open 2, 3, open 2, 3, open 2, open 2, open 2, 3, open 2, 3. 3, 2, open, 3, 2, open. 2 open, 2 open, 3 2 open, 3 2 open. Those are all the notes for E minor, G major. With A major, it's relative to F sharp minor. It's 6. A, B, C, D, E, F sharp minor. So all the notes inside that pentatonic, just like and, are all the notes inside of A major and F sharp minor. So our spider exercises would dictate if we stay within these 4 different frets, we will be able to find all the notes within our key. Try that same thing with D as well. It was very nice seeing you this week. Remember, don't be overwhelmed with this. The modes are here to act as a tool in our tool bag for later. The reason why we're jumping into these now is you have the capacity to. Why not? It makes sense when we're doing something like, today is going to be the day that I'm going to throw it back to you. In that E minor, we should have. And be able to jam over the top of that whole thing. E minor, G major, D major, C major. But we don't have to play them all as E minor, G major, D major, C major. That's a lot of moving. So we just play like an E minor with the 2 up top and we hold them. Play the E minor to the G. Notice how that just switches over from that E note to the G. And then when we go up to the D, our fingers are already ready already. So with our pinky on there, it becomes a D sus Who cares? It's giving the feeling that they wanted. And then to this C, still has that sussy nature because it changes to a sus2, and then it uses itself over the top to go back to the E minor. There is only like 1 or 2 changes in this whole song, and I think it's back to the G, and there were many things that I would like to say to you. I think they go to A. Yeah, that's it. So you could see now that when they throw that A in there, that's a key change. Because in the key of G major with E minor, there's a D in there and a C. G, A, B, C, D. So that C major and D major are in the key of G, and G's relative minor is E minor, so it has to be in the key of G major or E minor. Whatever you want to call it, there's a way to notate it. Some ways are easier than others, but that's the reason why we go over this in the beginning, so later it just kind of clicks. I really enjoyed seeing you this week. Go over all your majors and minors for all 3 of your different scale positionings, and I can guarantee you when you play a C that has that minor up here and do it like a D, and you realize your D minor has the same feeling that just one of your other major structures does, you'll realize that all these notes just kind of smoosh together, and depending on how you use them is the same thing as what we were talking about. If this is a D major and this is a D minor, and this is an F, and when I play this F down here, I get a D minor. Well, in context, if I put down these lower notes here and I get this B flat major 7, it's safe to say that a B flat major 7 and a D7 or a D minor are the same chord. We just hear them differently, or we call them different by different names. Anyway, it was great seeing you. I'll see you next week. Aloha.